I'm recording this right now on Friday, right before Elimination Chamber. It's literally almost Saturday. It's 11:45 at night as I'm recording this. And so I was thinking, I'm getting excited. The yearly 2K, you could maybe see in my background, I'm about to play some 2K16 as well. I want to do the showcase and stuff like that. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited for 2K26. This was a game that I originally was iffy if I was even going to get, because I was pretty content with 25, and just in general they weren't adding too much. But then as we've gotten more info, I've fallen back into the trap, and I'm very excited. I have the $100 edition pre-ordered, so next Friday, about a week from now, I will be playing the game. And I like to every year kind of predict what could be the possible DLC. What could we get? And they've changed the model now. It's not just packs that you're going to get. It's a whole Ringside Battle Pass kind of thing, and a lot of people aren't happy with it. I am kind of in the middle of it. I'm not too happy with it, but I don't mind it too much because the XP that you earn, you can earn it through various game modes, and I'm mainly a universe mode guy, and you can earn the XP through universe mode. So I feel like in general it's gonna be pretty easy to unlock everything. It's not gonna be much of a grind because I'm gonna be playing this game a lot, and I'm gonna be playing that mode a lot. So I don't think it's too much of a crazy thing. However, I do not like the idea of purchasing tier skips, which is a thing in any battle pass. I'm not a fan of them putting that in there. It's one thing if it's in a battle pass in a game that is free and you can purchase tier skips or whatever, but DLC, you're already purchasing the DLC, so I don't like the idea that you then, to try and fast track that, you have to purchase more stuff. I don't like it. It's very shady, and as much good stuff as 2K has done in this game so far from what we've seen is coming, there's definitely some shady, underhanded tactics that seem to be being put to use for 2K to make some more money, and that seems to be one of them. So I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm not also burning the whole world down about it. But in general, I still want to do let's predict what the DLC is going to be, because the game, the early access, comes out again in pretty much less than a week now, and we know Cornell Gunther, who's I think that's how you say his name. He works for 2K, and he's kind of the voice of like the 2K brand, but he works for 2K, but he's a part of like the community. You know what I'm saying? So he's the guy that kind of tweets everything out and says, not from 2K's account, from his own account, and says, yes, this is happening. Hey, we're going to change that. Things like that. He said in a tweet a couple days ago, maybe it was today, that we will know all the DLC before the game comes out, which is also what needs to happen. I would have been very mad if all the DLC was hidden and they still expect people to purchase this game and purchase the editions that include the DLC that nobody would know what they're purchasing. So now, knowing that we are definitely going to know all the DLC, all the Ringside Pass seasons, there's going to be 6 seasons, one of which has already been announced, the AAA season that includes Mr. Iguana, Psycho Clown, Flamer, Vikingo, the Mega Championship, the Reina de Reinas Championship, and it also includes Worlds Collide and Triple Mania. It's a lot of good stuff. That's 2 arenas, 2 championships, and 4 people. So that's a good amount of stuff in one pass. And that's not everything. There's going to be, I know, I saw today they posted an entrance for Stephanie Vaquera's Persona card, which will be a part of that. I think it's from Worlds Collide or Triple Mania, one of the shows that she worked for AAA. So there's definitely going to be more. There's a free pass, which is going to include the legends that you normally unlock, but the premium pass is going to include this stuff. But it seems like there's other stuff they haven't necessarily announced. But this is the big stuff that everybody wants to know. Persona cards are cool. It's going to be awesome to have different attires for people and whatnot. But the big stuff that people want to know is the brand new stuff coming to the game. So when we go through this, I'm not counting Persona cards and stuff like that. I'm really only counting new characters, new championships, new arenas. And not every pack that I have here listed has new championships or new arenas. So within that, I could be wrong here. I just replaced a championship or an arena that would be in a pack with another superstar or another championship or something like that. I could be totally wrong. They could be cheaping out and doing a season that still has 4 superstars and doesn't have 2 championships. But I think that's kind of a waste. If you are setting the tone with about 8 big items right there, 8 really big premium items that are brand new to the game, that should be kind of the basis of every single season. So I just included superstars instead of some championships, or vice versa, da-da-da-da. So, yeah. So my first season, my second season really, after this AAA season, is going to be the Icons season. We already know in a ratings reveal that was posted today that Jelly Roll will be confirmed for the game. So I put him in this icon season. I think this is where we get Mickie James, which I think would be really cool. I'm not sure if she is technically under a WWE Legends contract, but she did the LFG stuff. She seems to be friendly with WWE, so if they signed her on to a nostalgia contract or something like that, it would not shock me. As well as the Hardy Boys, I think this is where we put the Hardy Boys and get them in there. And I think this is where Matt Cardona also can come in and be a part of the DLC, because I think he came in later, really late last year, but I think it's close enough that he could still make it in the game. Especially if this season is one of the later seasons, they have a lot of time to work on his character. But I also included the TNA Tag Team titles, the Knockouts Championship, which would correlate to Mickie James, and the Internet Championship. Which version? I have no clue. It could be the current version that I guess he doesn't use anymore, but the version he was using on the Indies, or more likely it would probably be the retro version that was in, I think, WWE 13 or something like that. So yeah, the Icons season, big premium stuff here. Jelly Roll, Jeff Hardy, Matt Cardona, Mickie James, the TNA Knockouts title, the TNA Tag titles, and the Internet Championship. Again, probably the retro version. Another season here that I have is a actual version 2 of AAA. I think AAA has so much of a huge roster to work with, and a lot of people that are pretty iconic. So I think a second version of AAA would make a lot of sense, and I don't think people will be too upset about that. So my AAA version 2 pack or season would include Octagon Jr., who worked at Money in the Bank, so to me that would make a lot of sense that he would be in there. La Parka, I think, would make total sense. I would have expected him to be in the first one, because even though he's not the original La Parka, I just think the idea of La Parka, the character, being in a WWE game is pretty mind-blowing, so I would love to see him be in there. Chick Tormenta, who is another female wrestler in AAA, who is pretty impressive and pretty big. Dr. Wagner Jr., another huge name that I think would fit in here very well. And Laredo Kid, a huge high flyer that's kind of taken the world by storm when he's shown up on the WWE-produced AAA shows. A lot of people took notice of him. And no arenas in this one, but that's why I added 2 more superstars, 2 more wrestlers. But I would say that the AAA tag titles would be in there. Oh, Pagano as well, I think, is somebody that would be in this pack. Pagano, my bad. Yeah, I think Pagano would be in here because we have Psycho Clown in the first season that we already know about. Ooh, my bad. We already have Psycho Clown in the first season that we know about. So putting Pagano in here completes that tag team, which then leads to my next point of I think the AAA tag team titles would be in there. Because in the first season, we know the Mega Championship and the Women's Championship, the Reina de Reinas Championship, is going to be in the game. So I think this is where they can add the tag titles. And I think, I was wondering, do they do the Cruiserweight title? But I think it would be actually really smart if they also add the mixed tag titles. Those have been very prominently featured, with Chelsea Green and Ethan Page having them on NXT and SmackDown. Now Lola Vice has it on NXT. I think it would be very good because it's been showcased a lot, as well as that gives you an incentive to have kind of an intergender thing, which is something they've been big about from last year and this year, the ability to do intergender wrestling and stuff like that. I think having this as an intergender championship would be something that would pique a lot of people's interest. The NXT Evolves season here would include Dark State. That's a group that I thought would have been in the game, on the base game, but is not. So I feel like they would be in there, as well as Kendall Gray. I'm a Grainiac. That's what I'm calling myself, and that's what I'm calling the fan base. I am a Grainiac. She's super new, but from what I've seen of her on NXT, I don't watch Evolve, but I do watch NXT, and from what I've seen of her, I am a huge fan already. I think she's great. So I think we do that. We have Dark State added into the game, Kendall Gray added to the game. I think the Evolve Arena will be added to the game, and then I think the Evolve Men's and Women's Championships will be in the game, although Jackson Drake I don't think will make the cut. I think even though he's been Evolve champion for a while now, I just don't think he's making the cut this year, but next year for sure. But just having the Evolve title in there gives you possibilities, especially even though it's the WWE version, you can use that as the earlier Evolve championship if you want to put that on Johnny Gargano or Austin Theory or something like that. I think that's a really good pack there, having Dark State, having this huge stable, especially with the introduction of multi-man kind of like entrances and stuff like that. I think that's a big plus, having them have their own entrance, as well as Kendall Gray. Again, she's just been killing it on NXT, and having those championships and the arena gives you more playability, gives you more stuff to kind of mess around with. I have a Ruthless Aggression season here. I'm a Ruthless Aggression into kind of the HD era kid. But when I got into wrestling as a kid, it was definitely the Ruthless Aggression era. So I have Kelly Kelly. I know she made some vague tweet, some cryptic tweet more so, saying another year I'm not included in the WWE game or something like that. Which hopefully either A, is a work and she's just trying to get people interested in the DLC, or B, if that is true, hopefully they correct that, because again, they still have a lot of time to work on this DLC. Hopefully they've corrected that and they're able to get her into the game, because I know a lot of people would love to have her. I know she doesn't have a huge move set, but she's still an iconic former diva. And I know there is a big community for like the diva stands that love the former like WWE divas and stuff like that, and a lot of them aren't in the game. So I think Kelly would be a good addition. Melina, another one that I think there was the teaser for, not the DLC, but it was a teaser for kind of just the game in general before they started revealing anything. And there was a kind of like a Polaroid photo of furry boots. I have no clue who else that could be. So I feel like that almost pretty much guarantees that that's Melina, unless that was pointing at something in the game that we just don't know about yet. But if it's pointing towards a superstar, Melina definitely is the move, I think. Tori Wilson, another one, a huge legend that people love and have wanted in the game for a long time. We have Stacy Keibler, but we don't have Tori Wilson, so I think we need to get her in the game. Brie Bella literally just returned at the Royal Rumble a couple weeks ago. I think that's pretty much a given. She'll be in there, because also I think maybe she could have even been planned to be in the DLC before she even returned. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like as much as Nikki Bella definitely could stand on her own with her career, it's kind of not the same if she doesn't have her sister, especially in this where people love to, have tag team stuff and universe mode stuff and whatnot. Having both members of the Bella Twins definitely is better than just having one. So I think Brie Bella is pretty much a given to be in this game. And my last two in this kind of season are maybe more far-fetched, maybe not so true to what's going to happen. One, I have Hornswoggle. He signed a nostalgia contract very recently, I think. And he, I don't know if I know he has cards and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if he's had a figure yet since he signed that contract, and he hasn't been in a game. It would definitely be hard to have him as a playable character, so I kind of have him marked down as like a manager, because I think it was like SVR 09 or something like that, where you were able to have Hornswoggle as like a manager. So I'm not sure, again, because of like the size proportion, I'm not sure if you would be able to like throw Hornswoggle in the ring and beat him up, because I'm not sure that the animations would work. But he might be a manager in a sense that he could do managerial stuff, but he just can't like actually get fully involved in the match. But I think it would be really cool to be able to have Hornswoggle in as a playable character in the sense of a manager. I think that would be really cool. Or hell, maybe they make some new mechanic for him to where he can get involved in the match, but he just doesn't take every move. If he does get involved in the match, it's certain moves that, are animated towards him. I think that would be really cool. And my last one in this season is probably the most unlikely, but he will be, if you watch my prediction from last year, he was in last year, he will be in my prediction and my hope and my wish list every year until he's in the game. It's going to be Billy Kidman. He was one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid. I've always loved Billy Kidman, so I need him in a game. I think the last game he was in was like Raw 2 for the Xbox, so not great. And before that, he was in Shut Your Mouth. I think those are the only two games he was in. I definitely did plenty season mode playthroughs where I played as him in Shut Your Mouth. He was definitely winning all the titles for sure. I love that Shooting Star Press. So yeah, probably very unlikely, but he does still work for WWE. I think he's the head of the agents now or something like that. Like, he's been a producer for years, but I think at this point he is like the head of like the producers. So he's there. He's been there. I know he doesn't have this huge fan base, but I think having Billy Kidman would be a very fitting and formidable person to add in here. I think that'd be very, really cool. Again, probably not happening, but he's always, if you watch my channel, if you watch these videos, you're going to have to understand he's going to be in my predictions every year until he is finally in the game. Before him, it was Hurricane. Hurricane was always in my prediction. I was always hoping Hurricane was going to get put in the game, and now he's in the game, and he's been in the game since like 2K22 or something like that. I think he was DLC in 2K22, so anything can happen. Obviously, he's probably a bigger character than Billy Kidman, but overall, I'm just manifesting it, so he will be in there. So that's my superstars there, and I also think SmackDown from 2008 would be a stage that's probably going to get added in there. And I'm not sure what WrestleMania, but I think a WrestleMania from that era that isn't in the game. I know there is a good amount of WrestleManias. So like a WrestleMania that isn't in the game. And hopefully it's not a rehash, because like WrestleMania 21 was in last year's game. So hopefully it wouldn't be just like them re-putting that in the game, because I hate when they do that stuff, when you have to like repay for something that was just in the game. That's not fun. So maybe like WrestleMania 23 or something. I would love a WrestleMania from that time period that isn't utilized in that much, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be really cool. And my last season here is a TNA season. This is something that everybody wanted last year. Hopefully they finally come to fruition and do it this year. And the superstars in that one would be Frankie Kazarian, Leon Slater, Eddie Edwards, and Nick Nemeth. I think I think those would be some formidable ones. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to include a woman here. I tried to include a knockout. It's kind of hard because a lot of the knockouts were just formally in there, so I didn't want formally in the game last year, like Indy Hartwell or Amara Sade. I didn't want to just throw them in there because, again, I hate when that happens. Even though it would be cool to have them back in the game, I would hate to like have to pay for DLC to get Indy Hartwell back in the game when she was just in the past like 3 games. That would be kind of annoying. So the only one that I can kind of look at that would have been somewhat of like people would have understood and stuff like that was Ash by Elegance, and I'm not gonna lie, no hate to her. I'm not a fan of her, so I wasn't gonna put her in here because I'd rather just have like somebody that I actually like in there. So unfortunately, there's no knockouts in this one, but I think Frankie Kazarian, he just showed up on Raw for AJ Styles' retirement. So now he's technically made an appearance on WWE TV, which technically works. And again, he's just a legend, so I would love to have him in there. Eddie Edwards, he might be more left field, but he's been a staple in TNA for years. Again, I'm not a big Moose fan. In reality, if you look at this pack, Moose would probably be more likely to make it in here. But I'm not a Moose guy, so I don't want to manifest that. I don't want to predict that. But I do like Eddie Edwards. So I think he's been in TNA for years. It's long overdue in general with his wrestling career for him to be in a video game. So I think it would be really cool to have Eddie Edwards in the video game. As well as I wish, again, I try to make this equal, but I would love to have Brian Myers in there. Obviously, Kurt Hawkins was in up until 2K20 or something like that. I think that was his last game. I would love to have Brian Myers in there, but he didn't make the cut this time. Leon Slater, he's probably the most given out of anybody in this pack. He's been on WWE TV multiple times on NXT. He wrestled on Saturday Night's Main Event, so I think that's a pretty given that he would be in this pack. And Nick Nemeth also just makes a lot of sense because he also just made an appearance in December, I believe, in December for the John Cena Farewell Tournament. He made an appearance on Raw, wrestling Solo Sikoa. People know him. He's Dolph Ziggler, so he got a huge pop when he came out, so that shows that people still know him. So I think he would be a really big selling point for this season to be able to play as Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, again in a video game. And I think with that, he was former World Heavyweight Champion. So was Frankie Kazarian in the past year, I believe so. So having the TNA World title would make a lot of sense, as well as the X Division title for Leon Slater would make a ton of sense. And I think arena-wise, we probably have Bound for Glory. That's like one of their biggest shows of the year. And then maybe like a weekly, like just their like TNA on AMC arena or like Slammiversary or something like that, I think would make sense. So, yeah. And again, I didn't really include like personas and stuff like that, although we do know that's going to be in there. So I think like if you were to say that stuff, include that stuff, I think like trying to see like maybe if you did the personas, I don't know, because I'm like, are all personas going to be just for people that are in the base game already, or are there going to be different personas for DLC people that are in the past? Because like if you do that, you could include a retro Zack Ryder when you include Matt Cardona, which would be cool. You can include retro Hardys, which would be cool. Looking through my thing here, an NXT pack that you could do for base roster people. You could do a 2018 Johnny Gargano, stuff like that. I think would be cool. And the TNA pack, hopefully we get people like last year we had the retro AJ, so I'd like to do that again, maybe in a different attire, but having a TNA AJ Styles, I don't think Bobby Roode is in the game, but if he is, having a retro Bobby Roode, having a more retro Abyss from maybe earlier in TNA or just a different attire would be really cool. Yeah, there's different personas you could do for people that are in the game and people that, you know, are in the DLC. I think a Zack Ryder persona for Matt Cardona would be really cool for people that want to do, you know, a throwback universe mode, a Ruthless Aggression, HD era universe mode. I think having like Zack Ryder with the headband and stuff would be really cool. So yeah, that's my predictions for what could happen in the 2K26 Ringside Pass DLC situation. I also think too, I wanted to include this as I just remember this. Speed, Speed is somebody that's been obviously he was part of last year's Royal Rumble with a huge iconic moment. He did an episode of a TV show, his own TV show this year or last year with Randy Orton, where he trained to be a wrestler. He was doing Twitch streams at you know the Royal Rumble and stuff. So he's been in and around. So I think it would be cool if he was also included, but I wasn't able to fit him in like a season here because I was staying by trying to do like 8 things per season. But I did remember every year now for the past couple of years since they've kind of restarted, I think since like 22, they have included like once it gets towards kind of like the later parts of the game's life cycle, they do like a new version of the game that includes a couple of things to like entice you to, if you didn't buy the game already, to buy the game or to just buy the pack for like $15. Last year was John Cena. They did a Bad Bunny edition. So I think that maybe that's where Speed could come in. Maybe it's an I Show Speed edition, which I know he's not a wrestler, so people would be pretty mad about it, I guess. But I just think it would be cool. It would definitely appeal to kids. You know what I'm saying? Like little kids would definitely be interested not only in getting a WWE game, but getting a WWE game that has I Show Speed in it. So I think that would be pretty cool to have him in there and do that as like the I Show Speed edition towards the later part of the life cycle with Speed. Maybe an alternate version of him in the Prime bottle because we know he did that. And then like maybe another superstar that's connected to him or that he just advocates for. I'm not sure, but I think overall an I Show Speed edition for like that later half of the life cycle would be a cool addition, cool thing to do, and again would be very marketable because he's all over the place. So yep, that's my ringside pass, my 5 of the seasons prediction. Let me know in the comments what you think. Am I completely off basis here? Is this shit? Does this suck? Or is it really cool? What would you add? What would you switch up? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm excited for 2K26. Maybe I'll make some more content once I have the game and I've been playing it a little bit. I might actually make some more content. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course, because I'm going to do more stuff like this, more movie reactions, things like that. And yeah, with that, I will see y'all next time.